Welcome back to another Talk Dragon Tuesday with RPW. Now today we're going to be going over the second wave of the SUMMERFLARE Codex dragons that are releasing this week during the next event. Now if you don't know what the next event is, be prepared for shock because the feeding event returns. Talk about a serious surprise by PG because I was not expecting the feeding event this soon. But furthermore, it is coming. Now, the event guide series will come out again this week on this. We will be going over the feeding event, some of the tips and what I do in order to prepare for the feeding event because it is one of my favorites to prepare for. Now, every Tuesday I do a giveaway for a $20 in-game pack to one lucky viewer that comments and partakes in my weekly giveaways. So be sure to stick around because sometime in the video we will be going over how you can enter to win for a chance this week's giveaway. So let's go ahead and hop into the exciting news for the week, which is the second wave of the Codex Dragons for this SUMMERFLARE season. So we're going to be going through what is being released this week, and we're going to go over, of course, their lure, their spells, and I'm going to let you know what I think of each dragon and tell you what my plan is. So let's go ahead and jump into our first dragon. Now I believe his name is pronounced Tez, and if you'll notice he's clutching onto a stone up under his foot, and he is the beast of animated stone, forever vigilant, watching for intruders. Now according to his lure, the best defenses are those that survive long past their masters. Tez began as an animated statue, built to guard a secret city in the windblown shroud. Though the city's residents have long since disappeared, Tez lives on. They have not weathered, have they faded, and they are just as determined to protect their charge as the day they were born. So a pretty cool lure here for this dragon, and I think that this warrior dragon has a very cool spell set that really complements him. The first thing being, of course, the stone form, which is generally something you're going to see on every warrior dragon. There's going to be some type of shield. Now, stone form is something that, is already out and most of us have some experience with, but this spell will actually be a white spell. Now, it's going to take 2 rages, and it's going to put up a shield that reduces damage by 70%. Now, this spell will have a 5-second duration. Now, the next spell is the Fury of Wastes. This is a passive spell that is yellow, and the dragon will gain 5% increased damage that will eventually cap at about 100% and restore 8% of the dragon's base HP every 3 seconds. The third thing here is the Echoing Blast. This is very specific to this dragon, but it is an active red 0 rage spell, which will grant 15% of the dragon's base HP as health and deals 10% of the dragon's base HP as damage. Now the dragon also becomes invincible for 2 seconds. And this spell does have a 7-second cooldown. Now, if you'll notice, with the 0 rage and 1 passive, this guy doesn't need a lot of rage spells. So whenever a lot of rage building. So whenever you go to equip this dragon with runes, you may want to choose something for stone form versus something that builds rage quicker, because really the only thing that needs rage with this guy is going to be the stone form shield. And then, of course, they've complemented him with Ice Flak Resist, which means they will reduce all the damage taken by Ice Flak towers by 70%. Now, with this dragon, they're going to actually have specific runes and glyphs for him that you can get. One will be the epic Echoing Blast rune, which, of course, goes with the Echo Blast spell, but it'll increase the blast healing. And then he also has the legendary one, which will also increase even more the echoing. And then there is a third item here, which is a glyph, the Mythic Echoing Blast glyph. This will increase Echoing Blast healing and increase the warrior's attack. So when it comes to this dragon, there's one thing I can think of, which is Leos. I think he's going to be a pretty boring dragon, but at the same time, I think he's going to be a beast. He's going to be one of those dragons you can depend on that's going to be able to make it through, but you're not going to get a lot of practice if you like to, go out there and play with spells and try to take on, oddly put together bases or even higher level bases. So me personally, I'm not, in love with this dragon, but I think he will be a decent one. Now, he does have a portrait. Introducing the portrait, his name is the Shroud Spearman. And of course, he is beautiful. Here is a nice male portrait. I know there's a lot of guys out there that were really wanting some more male portraits, and I think this is one of my favorites for the male portraits this season personally. So I think it is a pretty cool one. So if you really want the portrait, this would be one to work towards. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next dragon, which is Zots. Now Zots is a dark elemental sorcerer dragon, and he is pretty awesome. I love his lore, so let's go ahead and go over that. Now he's known as the Night Shadow Dragon. So shadows from the jungle canopy hide his blood-sucking menace. Now, if you look at him, he really does kind of look like a bat. Now rumors speak of a cult that lurks deep in the jungles of the wood-blown shroud. They worship a being known as Zots, half bat, half dragon. Zots is an evil creature embodying death and the essence of darkness. In order to appease Zots' never-ending thirst, their cult offers them blood sacrifices. There are murmurings that the sacrifices are too demanding, but none dare draw the ire of Zots. Now let's go over his spell set. He's got a very cool first one here, which is the Siphon Strike. Now this is an active white spell that takes 2 rages. Now this will heal the dragon for 25% of its base HP when casted, and it will deal 20 times normal attack damage to the targeted tower. Spell has 2-second cooldown. The next spell is the Sacrifice spell. Now this is an active blue 0 rage spell. However, don't think it doesn't cost anything. This will deal 15% of damage to your dragon in exchange to gain 2 rage points. Now, one of the great things about the sacrifice, let's say you are jumping in with backup coming in behind you and you are lower level, that sacrifice spell is a great one to hit right before you swap so that the person following you has a full rage bar if you don't already have one. Alright, so the next spell is the Shadow Dispersal. Now this is an active red 1 rage spell which will cloak for 2 seconds. Upon uncloaking, it will deal 18% of dragon's base HP as damage to nearby towers. The spell has a 3-second cooldown. So basically this is kind of like a invisible shield that explodes, if you would imagine, but it doesn't actually explode. That's just the best way to explain it. So it cloaks you, and then after it has gone down, which only lasts for 2 seconds, it will actually send out damage to nearby towers that will help, take them down by 18%. Now, the Dark Flak Resist is a passive spell, which will reduce the Dark Flak towers by 70%. And he also has specific runes of glyphs, but these are for the Siphon Strike. So the Epic Siphon Strike rune will increase the Siphon Strike healing. The legendary Siphon Strike rune increases Siphon Strike healing. And then the mythic will not only increase that, which is a glyph, but it will also add rage regeneration to your dragon. Now, when it comes to this dragon, he also has a very cool portrait as well. This portrait is called the Shroud Skirmisher. Now, this guy is very cool. He's wearing a eagle's helmet, and he's got a really cool spear there that's like arrowhead and feathery. So that is a really cool thing about him. Now, my personal thoughts on this dragon is, as a sorcerer, a lover of sorcerers, I am disappointed. I was hoping for something a little better. I don't know. maybe I'd have to play with him to see, but I'm not seeing what I was hoping for. So he's definitely no Chronaris, nor is he any type of Equester, which is pretty cool for me because at the same time, I don't want to be taken away from the focus I have, which is working on Tannoch, which I think really should be the main focus of everybody this season. All right, so let's jump into the veteran rider. He is known as Null. Now, Null is a Earth rider, so if you get him and you plan to equip him eventually, he would be best on an Earth Elemental Dragon. Now, let's go over his skill tree. He has quite a bit here. For example, his Totem Debuff Resist total amount will be by a -4. Now, his Dragon XP will take it up by 3%. His HP by 2%, Ice Turret Resist by 5%, Cannon Tower Resist 5%, Archer Tower Resist 5%, Dragon Attack 3%, Dragon HP 5%, Dragon Attack 5%, Dragon HP 5%, and Dragon Attack 5%. So he will definitely have some total amount there of some pretty wicked amounts of debuffs and buffs. So definitely worth getting if you do get the other 2 dragons, that you can unlock him. But remember, there is a change that they've made in the middle of this season, which is now when you go through that first tier, which is the veteran rider tier, you're going to have to unlock, of course, both dragons in order to get this rider and complete him. However, they've made it to where you can get this rider and all of its shards without having to even touch the other 2 dragons. However, if you're wanting his gear, then you're going to have to finish both lines of dragons first, plus of course get your rider all the way through. So that is a pretty cool change for that. Now, if you do happen to unlock that and you do get Null's battle set, let's go over what that's going to do. Now, they don't have any images for us on what these look like yet, but his Vitality Boots will give you a Dragon HP of 5%, and the Battle Plate will give you a Dragon Attack of 5%, the Vitality Gloves by 5%, the Helm 5%, Pants, Dragon HP by 6%, the Ring will give you a Dragon Attack of 6%, and then the Shield will give you a Dragon HP of 9%. And then, of course, the Spear will give you a Dragon Attack of 9%. So this guy, with all of his gear and all that being said, he is definitely pretty awesome. He's going to be a pretty strong rider to have on any dragon. But, of course, if you're getting his gear, you're going to have to make sure you equip this onto an Earth Elemental Dragon. My personal thoughts and what I plan to do is, of course, finish Tannoch. But I plan to wait and see what the Seasonal Dragon is all about, and then we'll go from there, and maybe I will finish Coatl if I'm not too thrilled with him. And if not, I might just come over if I have anything left over and go ahead and work on this guy, because he does seem to be, to me, riders seem to definitely be worth it. And this guy definitely has some oomph to him even before you get his gear. Now, speaking of another dragon, the one that we're waiting on is still to be released. There's only one more dragon to be revealed. So if you don't know, if you're wanting, what's coming up, just remember that there is only one more. So, and I believe they're going to be putting out the preview for that in the coming week, or maybe this week or something. So be sure to tune in to the War Dragons live streams. They do put them on Twitch and Facebook and on YouTube weekly. And while you're there, you can also enter to win a prize. So be sure to check that out. That is one of the ways I get a lot of my information, especially how to pronounce a lot of these names. All right, guys, let's jump into the cool part of the week, which is our $20 in-game pack giveaway. Now, before we go through the details, I just want to go through the fine print with everyone and remind you that I do personally, Royal Pain Wife, choose the winner on every week's giveaway. However, I do not personally give out these prizes to anyone. So these prizes that are given out are distributed by War Dragons, and that is their way of sponsoring, my channel and supporting me as a Creators Faction member. Anybody and everybody that's in the Creators Faction has the same equal opportunity. Now, whenever I do my picks, I usually will come up with some type of contest or like a riddle or whatever for you to put, your answer with your in-game name at the bottom. Sometimes I even just do like a hashtag, put a word plus your in-game name. And then at the end of the week, I'll go through, write down everyone's usernames, cut them up, put them in a bowl, and on camera do the drawing with you guys. This way you can see your name going in the bowl, you see it being cut up, added to the bowl, and of course your name being drawn if you happen to win. Now I do want to point out that last week, or this past week I should say, I decided to start a new thing where if I've noticed or someone's mentioned and I see that I've missed their name in the prior week's giveaway, then I will go ahead and add them into the following weeks as a secondary name if they sign up for that one as well. So this way you get a second chance if you happen to have been missed. And sometimes that happens. I certainly apologize. So this week, to help prevent missing names, I do not plan to push hearts on anybody's comments until the very, very end when I'm writing out everyone's names so that I can keep track of which ones I've wrote down and which ones I've not, because they kind of just blur together. All right, so to win this week's giveaway, the big thing you have to know is how to name the scene to win. So in the comment section below, include your in-game name and your answer for this riddle of this week. Now, in the beginning of the video, we went over the new event coming up, and there's a specific scene that I've used during this. Now, I thought that was the great scene to use during the feeding event, but I'd like to know what show, what season, what episode, and what the name of the episode is, or whatever information you want to give me on it. And the best answers I get on this will be put in for the drawing. Now, later this week, I'll go through them all, and anybody that was, correct or whatever will be added into that drawing. Now, I must mention that also, if you happen to win a prize here on my channel, that I do turn these into War Dragons. I hope to get them in. Sometimes I'm a little bit late, but I do get them in by Saturday morning time frame, and you should get your prize for War Dragons that weekend. However, if for some reason by Monday morning Pacific Standard Time in the United States, if you have not gotten this prize yet, be sure to message me. You can message me in game or my Facebook or wherever, and I will reach out and find out what happened with your prize. All right, guys, so good luck, and I wish I could give you all prizes, honestly. All right, so as you all may already know, I've started another 4-part series for the month of July called It's All About That Base. So be sure to tune back with me, because we will be going over using guides and planners and how to plan out your base for particularly fortification events, because a lot of times, and I don't know for sure if it's coming up, but the way things add up, it might be coming up very soon, so I want to get you all prepared for that. So definitely tune in for that one coming up. It'll probably be tomorrow, if not the following day. And then, of course, we will have our event guide for the feeding event also this week. Now let's jump into my afterthoughts. I would love to get some more people in here for some interviews. I need to reach out this week so I can get one started for next week. I figured this week the dragons could be our special guest. But if you know somebody that would be a great candidate that would be willing to chit chat via over the internet video, I would love and be interested into messaging with them. And then, of course, I've got a few other people in mind, as well as a possibility of re-interviewing other people. So we will see what happens with that. Another little thing I want to add in there yet, if you are still uncertain on what dragon you want, it's not a bad thing. You can wait out, see what the last dragon is going to be, and then just save back all those sigils until then. However, next season, if you find yourself in the same position, a lot of times if you really have an issue, making decisions on what dragon you want, the best thing for you, especially low-level players, is to get anything that's discounted, because the prizes you get along the way are 100% worth it. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed today's spotlight on the new dragons coming out and that I answered any questions you might have about them. But if not, if you have any other questions, feel free to put that in the comment section below and I will do what I can to answer them. But before you go, don't forget to leave my video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell for notifications. After all, this is a great way to support my channel. Thank you for all of your support.